Okay, so welcome to Chapter 6, which is all about functions. Chapter 6, this is where the coding gets a little bit more complicated, so these programs will take you a little bit more time to do. We're going to break up from, depart a little bit from what we've been doing so far this semester with sequential programming, meaning, starting at the top, and working our way down the code and doing it sequentially. And I mean, granted, we've done some decision structures and that kind of thing. But for the most part, we start at the top, go straight to the bottom, and that's pretty much it. So with functions, what we're going to be doing is breaking things up, and we will call a function. You'll learn more about that as you get into this. But we're basically executing or running that particular piece of code, whatever it might be. Could be something very, very simple, maybe just a simple print statement that you're calling and saying, hey, go ahead and print this line. Or we could be sending data to a function, having it complete something and in the program there, or send a result back to be able to use in another part of a program. So it gets you'll see what kind of baby step along here, but it enables you to do all sorts of new things. So a little, I don't know, kind of divide and conquer approach to the coding. So for tasks that are done all the time, you may create a function for it, and then you just simply call the function instead of writing out the code to do it each time. So, for example, if you were doing something where you needed to, you had a subtotal and you are calculating sales tax, you may have a sales tax function where, it goes and walks through a little procedure to find out, what the percentage of sales tax might be for a particular region, and then calculate that for you and send the result back to your main program. So once you have that sales tax function written, you don't have to mess with it again. It's done. It's completed. Only if there are changes in rates would you go in and even mess with the code, most likely. So it's a great way to go, and you'll see as you go along. Like I said, the programs are a little bit more complicated, but it's more realistic as far as breaking things up. And remember, think big scale when you're thinking about this code. When you're writing these programs and you look at these in here, like this markup program or this, any of these programs in here, it will be easier to just write a sequential program and bang out the code really quickly. But we are going to be breaking them up. Make sure you're looking at the function requirements for these as you're going through, because we want to write them with functions in. And as we're doing that, think if this program was 5,000 lines, right? So right now our programs are super super simple, but imagine you're working in a team. People break up and work on different sections of the code and so on and so forth. So anyway, think big picture when you're setting these up. All right, so I wanted to show you just really quickly a couple of things. So we'll be walking through this first set here, so up through 6.8, and you'll see as we step through kind of how it works. But don't forget, as we're going through this, I'm going to kind of scroll down really quickly, and I'm going to pick one of these. Okay, I'll stop right here. So this is slide 11. Really simple piece in here, but I wanted to show you was just an example of code and how it works. Now, I'd highly recommend. I know pretty much everyone's using REPL right now, but for functions, I would highly recommend using uh, Python Tutor, and I'll show you an example here in a second where we can check it out. I also want to mention just before I leave this page the video links. So these first three videos, make sure you watch them. These go with you'll see the little links in the PowerPoint or at the little section on the side of the textbook in the margin where it as you're reading through and it says, hey, there's a video for this. Make sure you watch these videos so you have a little video representation of each one of these videos. They're very good, and they'll give you something a little bit different than just the text and the PowerPoint and the links that I have. Also, as you come down here, the solving the markup program problem. This goes with this particular homework assignment right here. So you can watch the video and he will walk you through doing it. You also notice just really quickly that the problems are a little bit out of order. I did that on purpose because I feel like this is a better order as far as difficulty. And then when you get down to this problem right here, there is a starter file. So make sure you use this starter file. It's right here. It's arearectangle.cpp. I would suggest downloading that and then opening it up like in Notepad. For example, here it is open in Notepad. Just select the whole thing. So either do it highlight it yourself with the mouse. You can hold down Control and hit A. You can right click and say select all. And then you're going to go ahead and either hold down Control and hit C on your keyboard, or you can right click and say copy here. Obviously, there's lots of different ways of doing that, right? And then you're going to go ahead and jump over to, well, if we were in REPL, we'd be right here. Oh, let me show you REPL just because this is a little default C++. Let me get rid of that. And I wanted to show you just, if you haven't come across this yet, if you right click in here, you notice there's no paste. Oh, panic, don't panic, it's okay. So just click right there, hold down control and hit V for Victor, and that's your paste command. You can do the same thing if you jump over to Python Tutor and you've got a new C++ window open here for the visualizer, and hold down control and hit V, and it will be copied into there. Or you can right click and hit paste because it is available in the visualizer for at pythontutor.com. All right, but what I wanted to show you really quickly was the code for this example right here. So if we take a look at this, and this won't make a whole lot of sense to you just yet, but this is one of the ways that we're setting up a function. There's a prototype up here, and you'll learn more about that in a little bit. But I wanted to show you how this function to Python Tutor, why I recommend using Python Tutor for this part. And then you can always, when you're done with it in here, just go back to edit this code, highlight the code, copy and paste it, and put it in REPL just to give you the ability to cloud save it. But it's nice to see it in Python Tutor using the visualizer here, because it shows you in this section here what the computer is doing. And so I just want to step through this. You notice at the very top here, well, I mean, we skipped all this stuff here, but starting here, it's going to say hello from main, so it's going to output that. And then here we go into just a really simple loop. Just looking at the loop, you can see it's going to run, and it's going to come down here, and it's going to call, meaning run or execute, however you want to look at it. So we're going to call this particular function. So it's going to go to this code, and after you've done this, this will again make a little more sense. It's going to go to this particular function down here, and it's going to run whatever's in here. And this is a really simple one. We're not returning any values. It's a void, so we don't have to worry about any of that. But we're just I just want you to see how it works over here. So when I go forward, it's going to go ahead, run the count, and it's going to say go down to display message and run. So here we go. We've gone from here where we've called it, skips all the way down. If you notice that, we're at line 16. It's saying go ahead and run this little baby. Boom, jumps right down inside here. And now we'll print out this message, and then that's it. So then it goes right back to where it left off. It'll come back up here to this loop to run this again. So it's going to do this 3 times, and you can do this yourself too, because obviously there's a link over there in the PowerPoint, slide 11. And then once we come down here, we're running it the 3rd time, and then it just jumps down here to line 18 and prints out. Now we're back in the main function again, returning 0, ending this, and that's the end of it. So so functions, I really like this in Python Tutor. Let me step back a couple just so you can see kind of some of the things that they'll put in here, so that Philip has written in. Now, if we were sending values in and returning values, you'll see all that stuff listed in here. So it's an easy way to see what's going on with the function to help you understand it. If you're in REPL, it's just going to execute the program. You don't see this, right? So I'd highly recommend using this at least until you get the hang of functions, especially as they get more and more complicated. It's a great way for you to track what's being done behind the scenes, so you can follow the logic of the program. All right, so that's it. I'll stop hammering at you here, but hopefully you enjoy playing around with functions. It's fun. They're powerful. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with them, and we'll be using them pretty much the rest of the semester. And I don't know. I think they're fun. So enjoy this week, and let me know if you have any questions.